content of this channel is for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification button. And please, feel free to share the video. Thank you.
Yo, what's going on, man? I'm GG. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. It's a place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, with no chasers. Yeah, man, before I get things started, I want to give a shout out to all the haters that might be out there, man. I know y'all lurking. Also, when you come in, man, can you please hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell notification button so you can stay abreast of what's going on here on the Green Gorilla channel. And as I always do before I start, I want to give a shout out to all of the members of the Green Gorilla channel who help me to keep things going. So shout out to Dr. Thunder, BGS Ivmore, Brotherly Love, Jason Hales, Be About Peace and Pleasure, Charles Finney, Interesting Thought, Leeways, BMROC, Blacksword 404. Big up to y'all. Big up to BD Main, Black Men Being Brutally Honest, Apex Prowler, Ezekiel Will, Naomi Gary, J. Cleveland Green, The Toxic Masculinist, Pulpit 28, No Sleep, Broken Blade, and Mr. King. Big up to y'all. Big up to Larry R, Seth Sun 7, Devon Loveridge, Afro Troop TV, Show Me, Spain Man, Kenneth Coast Dojo, Seventh Coast Dojo, Anthony Davis, I'm Just Jules, An Honest Look, Sherlyn Woe, and Ricky Dawson. Big up to y'all. Big up to Stefan, Julius Ferguson, True 7360, Mr. Me Too, Call for President, Gold P, AKs and Curtains, H-Town, Roguish the Billmonger, Adrian Thomas, and Electrician 480. Big up. Big up to Binga, Cutting Up with the Jones, Zanco 1D, Scott, Path Guy 74, Pete Rock 496, Aaron Peters, Barnolas, Vince Lindsay, Beautiful Trauma, and Quiz the Poet. Big up. Big up to Black Wizard 80OS, Jazz Steak Shadow Observer, Artisan MC, Troy Warren, Mrs. KP Bailey, Alan Wiley, The Face, Life of Commerce, Dreamlit, Timothy Blewett, and Jeffrey Speed. Big up. Big up to Marvin Battle Jr., Adam, Ignatz Mouse, Brian Peake, Scott Haywood, Black Uru, Dr. Tree 33, Leroy Honeycutt, 77 Basex, and Brian McMurray. Big up. Big up to K. Ryan S., Charles Rogers, Rick Ross, Sandra Jean, Charles Gilmore, Greg, Barry Little, Mr. Valentino, Cameron 87, Dr. Rock, and Mark Swift. Big up. Big up to Odd Collar, Donald Watts, Coach Hotep, Old Soul Chief, Mr. Blue Collar, TD Hip Hop Media, Drew Main, Mr. Heat, Sir Anthony, MLR, Universal 178. Big up. Also, big up to Rasheed Barnes, Aaron Smith, DH, Red Pill Revelator, A Double, Dr. Tiasan Johnson, Kalon Chakala, Hostile Adept, and W. Prayer 1. Can't forget David Carroll, Force Windu, Kevin Samuels. Big up. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to Passport OG, Chris Flowers, Christopher Burton, Daxby, J Live, Rashawn Phillips, Keith Bass, Nick, Albert C, Dr. Ben Vincent, I'm the Light of My Father, Waffle Weave, Tyrone Hampton, Darnell Smith, Excalibur, Preserve Prisoner, Taz, Dragon 59, Jay Bailey, Mr. Michi, Momal, and the Sangwa. Thank you so much for supporting the Green Gorilla channel. I appreciate it. You deserve a round of applause. Thank you for helping me support the Green Gorilla channel. If you want to support the Green Gorilla channel on an ongoing basis, here's how you do it, and I'll be back with what we're about to do. What's good, everybody? I'm the G with a PhD, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel, the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chaser. Today, I want to introduce you to my new membership program that consists of 5 levels where you can invest in the Green Gorilla channel on a monthly basis and receive level-specific perks. Memberships are special because they improve the quality of the content of the channel and will help me to be able to keep the channel going. Now, to participate in the Green Gorilla channel membership program, all you have to do is hit the join button, which is located right next to the subscribe button on my channel page. Now, for all of my subscribers who decide not to participate in my membership program, nothing will change. The content will keep coming the way it always has. Thanks for watching, and be careful out here, people. Bless. All right, man, I'm Gigi. You tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. The title of the show today is I Dare Any Feminist or Pro-Blacks to Debate Me About Family Formations in Pre-Colonial Africa. And I meant just that, you know, like I would love to have a conversation with, you know, anybody who's pro-black, you know, putting the, you know, the invite out there. I think that's the right invite. Or anybody who's a feminist, you know, if you B1, FBA, ADOS, I mean, you know, whatever, like if you Black Power Panther, whatever it is that you are, if you're an intersectionalist, whatever it is that you are, if you're a Native African, if you're an immigrant, whatever the case may be, I would like to have a conversation about this. Because, you know, I saw, like, I'm going to tell you what I saw. I saw a, yeah, Kareem, man, shout out to you, brother. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you hitting me up on Venmo. I mean, not Venmo, but PayPal. You gave me a $20 holler, man. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it, man. I really and truly do, bro. Straight up. And shout out to everybody out there in the chat. Shout out to all y'all out there. So look, nobody wants to talk to me. Everybody, I mean, these people will talk to everyone else except for me. They never pop up when I'm around. They never come talk to me. Maybe it's because I'm too small. I'm not even a micro influencer. I have less than 10,000 subscribers. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. You know, but I want to talk about the family formation in pre-colonial Africa, okay? Because what I feel is that you got people today who are trying to combine elements of Western law, custom, and political ideology and mix it all up with misinformation about pre-colonial Africa in order to justify what pre-colonial Africans themselves would never have justified about sex and family life. Bottom line. I'm just keeping it a buck. I'm just keeping it real. Okay? Now, in fact, what many intersectional feminists and pro-blacks are trying to justify in terms of sexual and familial mores would be so alien to pre-colonial African denizens that if we were to go back in time, in a time machine, and present our current sexual and familial practices to them, they would just reject it as a gross violation of their own rituals, customs, and their own ethos. Really. They would reject it. Okay? Now I got some people here, you know, I'm gonna let them come up for a quick minute. But I want to give a shout out at first to Just Curly Sheen, which says in the super chat, thank you for that, by the way. I'm growing a channel. I'm gonna take it to Ghana. They're going to be mainstream Americans, and I'm gonna give them 10% deals. Remember, y'all, Just Curly Sheens. Okay, shout out to Just Curly Sheens. Okay, so I'm gonna let Stuart D. Knight and Artistic Mill say something really quickly. If you're not either a feminist or a pro-black, then really, you know, like you can make a statement, but like there's really no need for me to be in a prolonged conversation with you. So Stuart, speak what you got to say, my brother. Okay, well, Autistic Male, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and speak your piece.
I'm gonna take a minute to formulate a question.
Well, take your minute, man. Take your minute. I thought you were ready. You came up. You stepped up to the. You know, you in the game now, and you're like, yo, I'm ready. I can't shoot the shot. Like, hold on. You got to be able to shoot. If you're in the game, you got to shoot the shot. So I'm gonna put you on the back. I'm gonna put you on the back burner for a minute. Okay.
No, I can't be heard. I can't be heard.
Stuart, man.
Can I be heard?
Yeah. I hear you now. So go ahead and speak your piece, man.
Oh, okay. What was you asking for a debate on? That I didn't know. I didn't catch the exact
Are you a
word
feminist?
you gave. Dude, and pro-black.
You are pro-black. Okay, so I will return. Like, hear what I have to say and then return. Okay, hear what I have to say first. Okay, so I'm gonna put you on. I'm gonna put you on the back. Okay, I'm gonna put you on the back. Put you on the back. Now y'all chill. You still there? Okay. Not deleting anybody at the current moment. Shout out to somebody who hit me up on the Cash App. I don't know who it was, but I think Cameron just hit me up. It's a guy named Cameron, so shout out to him. Okay. So I said, I'm saying, like I said it before, what you have today is a group of people who are trying to combine elements of Western law, custom, and political ideology and mix it with misinformation about pre-colonial Africa in general, in order to justify what pre-colonial Africans themselves would never have justified about sex and family life. Okay? So, in my view, okay, Western jurisprudence, political ideology, and policy created the conditions for the prevalence of disjointed, disconnected, dysfunctional familial constructions for black people in the Western hemisphere, or, people who are influenced by Western culture, okay? And including the prevalence of single mothers, which is basically spread like an infectious rash to other civilizations that have been colonized by the West. Now, this is not to hate single mothers. It's not about hating anybody. But to argue that, like, pre-colonial Africa was filled with single mothers with no connections to men is fantastical. It's absolutely ridiculous, okay? Because single mother parenthood is not, or was not, an indigenous African cultural phenomenon. So we have to stop the cap, man. Stop trying to defend the indefensible. Now, what is uniquely a Western phenomenon born out of the pathology of slavery, economic exploitation, mixed with anti-black misandry, anti-blackness in general, and defended under the aegis of negative liberty or freedom for women in general, was never part of indigenous African culture. And why, might I ask? Because indigenous African culture was not a culture that promoted anti-black misandry. Furthermore, it was a cult. Africans, indigenous Africans, they never displaced patriarchy. They never displaced patriarchy. And furthermore, they never promoted the value of individual or negative liberty. They never promoted the value of individual or negative liberty. Anyone that tells you otherwise, they're either intellectually dishonest or they're ignorant. They don't know what they're talking about. Okay? Now, let's talk about the patriarchy to begin with. Shout out to Barry Little. Shout out to him. Now, to begin with, patriarchy, no matter what feminists say, no matter what post-structuralists say, no matter what anybody has to say in the academy or in these, political, activist groups, whatever they have to say about it, the patriarchy, as it pertains to family life, has been whittled away by English judicial systems and the legislative system for centuries. For centuries. patriarchy, the empire of the father, has been whittled away in the Western world for centuries. To begin with, you got the 1660 Tenures Abolition Act. I'm going historical, just so you don't think that I'm just making this up. You had the 1660 Tenures Abolition Act, and BGS is the one who came up and dug this information out, okay? This act granted fathers, and there's an article written by a woman named Sarah Abramowitz, okay? And don't know the exact title of it. Actually, I can pull it up right now. The name of the article is English Child Custody Law, 1660 through 1839, the origins of judicial intervention in paternal custody. Okay? So in 1660, the Tenures Abolition Act granted fathers the right to appoint guardians to their children by will. They had the right to appoint guardians to their children through wills. And it was this gesture, right, was intended to strengthen fathers' rights. Okay, and undermine, one could argue, the rights of the mother. But eventually, it led to a destruction of fathers' rights. Because what the Tenures Abolition Act did was, it gave the courts of chancery in England the right to intervene in the way that those guardians carried out these wills, which in turn eventually led to the court's ability to undermine the way actual fathers exercise parental rights. So once you introduced, appointing guardians and to have a judiciary govern over and to adjudicate matters of disputes related to it, then you open up the possibility or the potential for them to now assess and to adjudicate your own rights in relation to your children. So, secondly, as it pertains to the patriarchy, then you get the Custody of Infants Act, which enabled women to petition the court, like men do now, to maintain custody of their children until the age of 7. Then in 1873, the English Parliament extended the age to 16 under the Tender Years Doctrine, which basically presumed that in a child's early years, they're best cared for by their mother. And the principle was eventually adopted by the majority of United States states, and is now, basically regarded as the best interest of the child. These pieces of legislation and policy is one of the reasons why, one of the most significant reasons why you have a prevalence of single mother families in the Western world, because they are promoted and endorsed by Western judicial precedent and law. They're promoted by judicial law, precedent and law. This shit did not exist in pre-colonial Africa. People will stretch and try to make anything fit to anything else. Another reason why, if you must ask, there is a prevalence of single mother families in the West is because of Western ideology, political ideology itself. And the prevailing political ideology in the United States is centered around the social contract tradition and its justification of the primacy and importance of negative liberty. Now, I've been over this before. Negative liberty is a concept in political philosophy that refers to the absence of people, restricting or constraining your actions or an individual's actions. That's what negative liberty is. And it's often contrasted with positive liberty, which is something together, altogether different. But positive liberty is the ability to act on your free will, which might require external assistance or resources, okay? But the idea of negative liberty is connected to the social contract tradition, which basically says individuals in a state of nature voluntarily give up some of their natural rights or freedoms in exchange for protection and benefits that the state gives them. So the state in this view is perceived as a necessary evil that's created by individuals to protect their rights and freedoms from external threats. This is basic shit. And the social contract tradition is typically associated, with Enlightenment thinkers, John Locke, Thomas Hobbes, Jean-Jacques Rousseau. And according to John Locke, individuals have a natural right to life, liberty, and property. But they agree to give up a portion of their freedoms or their rights to create a civil society so that these rights of theirs can be protected. Hobbes said the same thing to, a degree. He said that the state of nature is like a state of war. Individuals voluntarily give up their rights to a sovereign in order to be protected and to have security and peace. Okay? So overall, negative liberty is connected to the social contract tradition, which is a fucking Western tradition. This is not a goddamn African tradition. This is not an African tradition, man. A pre-colonial African tradition, it is not. Okay? And you ask why I'm even going into this, right? Because basically the Western social contract tradition pushes negative liberty. And that the idea that an individual must be free from external constraints. But they also have to accept certain limitations on their freedom in order to live in a stable society or a peaceful one, right? Now, it should be also known that negative liberty can be connected to the social contract tradition through this whole concept of external constraints and shit, but also it can be connected to premarital sex in the sense that it upholds the idea that individuals have a right to make their own decisions about their own sexual behavior without interference or constraint from a community of persons, a religion, a government, right? This is a Western, not an African concept or a set of political norms. So people need to stop trying to connect this shit. It's like trying to mix oil and water. They don't go together, man. They don't. Shout out to BGS, man. Shout out to him, man. I'm here to get it. I wonder where they are. They never talk to me. They never come talk to me. And I wonder why. Like, I'm confused. Now, in societies that value negative liberty, individuals have the freedom to engage in consensual sexual activity outside of marriage without fear of legal or social consequences. But you have to understand, this wasn't always the case in the Western world. And it definitely was not the case in pre-colonial Africa, man. Stop capping about this shit, man. In fact, much of the sexual norms exhibited and expressed in contemporary Western culture owes a debt to sexual revolutionaries like Gail Rubin, Michel Foucault, Kate Millett, Andrea Dworkin, Shulamith Firestone, not the Akan, the Igbo, the Mandinka, the Fulani, or the Yoruba. Cut the cap. Cut the cap, man. Stop stretching. Now, anybody that knows about Gail Rubin knows she wrote a famous essay called Thinking Sex. This was published in the 80s, man. And she basically said, look, sex or sexuality is a social construct that's influenced by cultural norms and values, and that they can change. She also came up with this concept called the charm circle. I showed you. To, demonstrate this charm circle it was to demonstrate how certain sexual behaviors some are deemed acceptable while others are stigmatized and seen as perceived as anathema. Now, Rubin's work is seen or perceived as being like influential in the development of queer theory and the study of sexuality. I mean, she's also like somebody who's revered in the women's liberation movement and the gay liberation movement. And people like her, again, Michel Foucault, who wrote extensively about the history of sexuality and the way power operates through sex. Kate Millett, an American feminist, who wrote Sexual Politics. She did this shit in 1970. And she talked about the ways that patriarchal power helps to shape relationships and identities. You got Shulamith Firestone. She wrote a book called The Dialectic of Sex in the same year as Kate Millett, who basically said oppression of women is rooted in the biological division of labor between the sexes. And she basically said, well, what we need to have is a way to have artificial reproduction so women can be, freed from their reproductive roles. Then you get Andrea Dworkin, who wrote about pornography, prostitution, sexual violence, and so on. Okay? And why do I say all of this? I say all this to demonstrate that the extent to which premarital sex is accepted or stigmatized in different cultures can vary widely. This is true. And it's influenced by a range of factors. Like you got religion, that'll impact it. Tradition, that will impact it. Social norms, that'll impact it. In some cultures, even in the Western world, and definitely in the Eastern world or in the African world or in the Aboriginal world, premarital sex may be perceived as a violation of moral and religious codes and may be subjected to social sanction or even legal sanction. And this definitely would have been the case in pre-colonial Africa. Because pre-colonial Africa was not built upon or undergirded by the concept of negative liberty or sexual fucking freedom, man. It wasn't. It wasn't a cultural environment in which men and women could screw who they wanted, however they wanted, whenever they wanted. And anybody who argues otherwise, they're being intellectually dishonest. In fact, if you look at pre-colonial African societies, instead of negative liberty being the paramount political value, they placed the emphasis on communal values over individual autonomy. And they had social norms that were centered around communal values and expectations that played a significant role in how they behaved and how they made decisions. In many cases, man, you got people who were expected to prioritize not just what's pleasurable or in their own hedonistic interest, but they had to prioritize the well-being in the community. Any actions that were perceived as detrimental to the group were discouraged and punished. Furthermore, man, if you look at pre-colonial African societies, man, they had strong hierarchies, bro, and power structures. And they had systems that were based upon pretty much like similar systems that you had in fucking medieval Europe. people who your status was determined by your birth or your lineage. I'm ready for these guys to step up and talk to me. Like, where are y'all, man? So given all of that, man, it's unlikely that the concept of negative liberty, which emphasizes individual rights and freedoms, including sexual rights and freedoms, would have been an integral part of pre-colonial Africa, man. Just be honest, man. Shout out to Dr. Tiasan Johnson, bro. I ain't seen you in a minute, dog. What's good with you, baby? Shout out to Charles Finney. What's good with you, baby? Shout out to Jason Hales. He says, hello, sir. Thank you for showing up to work today. You are doing a fantastic, awesome job. Thank you, superlative, man. I appreciate you, bro. Let me dig my head back into what it is I'm doing here, man. You know, now let's discuss family formations in the ancient world. And the one thing that woke people need to stop doing, whether they be pro-black woke or whether they be feminist, intersectional woke, whatever, okay? LGBTQ woke, whatever, okay? One thing woke people need to stop doing is arguing that the nuclear family is basically a Western cultural product and that no other cultures ever had nuclear family structures. That's bullshit. It's a lie. It's not true. It's not true, man. The nuclear family is not just a Western or Eurocentric cultural product. And you have to stop telling this lie, man. You have to stop it, man. In fact, the nuclear family was the basic social unit in ancient Egypt, just as it is in many other societies today, okay? Now, typically, a nuclear family in ancient Egypt basically consisted of a husband, a wife, and their children. Sometimes there are other relatives like their grandparents, their uncles, or their aunts. Okay? And it's true that the structure of an ancient Egyptian family probably would kind of vary or deviate depending on the social class of the person or the persons who were married, right, and the period that they lived in. But in general, if you were an elite, a noble, you would have a more complex family structure because you could have extended families, you could have multiple wives, concubines, and so on and so forth, right? While the lower classes typically had smaller nuclear families. However, regardless of the variations or the deviations, the nuclear family was an integral part of ancient Egyptian society. It played a key role in the social, economic, and religious life of those people. It was responsible for the upbringing and the education of children, the care of the elderly, and the passing down of traditions from generation to generation. That's why you have the prototype of the family, the Holy Trinity, Isis, Osiris, and Horus. Come on, man. It's one reason why this Trinity is perceived to be holy, because without it, you don't get fucking reproduction. It doesn't happen. Without that combination, there is no family. Without a man, a woman, and a child, the sun, the moon, and star, however you want to refer to it. But Egypt is not the only ancient African civilization that had a nuclear family. Because there are others that had them, okay? For example, you have ancient Nubia, located in what now you consider to be the Sudan. The nuclear family was also the basic social unit there. They had a husband, a wife, and children, okay? Same way in Ethiopia. Nuclear family, basic unit of society. Family consisted of a husband, a wife, and children. Now, it's true. I'm not going to sit here and say that everybody had a nuclear family. Because you can argue that, family structures vary widely across different regions and time periods in Africa. But to say that the nuclear family is primarily a product of European culture and then it did not exist elsewhere in the world is fucking cap. It's some bullshit. So I wonder where you at, man. Where are the people who say that the nuclear family is a European social construct? Where the fuck are y'all at, man? I'm gonna ignore the chat, except for people donating. Shout out to Red Pill Revelator. He says, you're not getting any takers, GG. They know who not to fuck with. I guess that's right. Thanks for the knowledge, Banger says. Distinguished Legacy says, humans who were born as a result of nuclear families don't believe in nuclear families. Kenneth and Mamie Clark are rolling over in their graves. The nuclear family is not just a modern European cultural product. Anybody that tells you that that's all that it is a liar. Or they're ignorant, or they're fucking just intellectually lazy. All you gotta do is a basic fucking Google search, and you will see this. This doesn't take a lot. You don't have to go through hoops and hurdles in order to gain access to this information. For people who say this is a modern Eurocentric cultural product, that's just cap. It's a lie. You had nuclear families also in the ancient world. Ancient Greece, in which a typical family consisted of a husband, a wife, and their children. Ancient Rome, the nuclear family was a basic social unit. Ancient China, where the family consisted of a husband, a wife, and their children. Ancient India. Now again, it's true, family structures, they vary across different regions and time periods in ancient societies of all kinds, okay? It's not the only form of family structure that existed, but it did exist and it was promoted in many ancient cultures. It existed before the rise of Teutonic or Germanic cultures and their particular cultural expressions of family life. But to argue that the nuclear family is predominantly a European expression of patriarchal control is a flat out lie. It's a fucking lie. It's a lie. Now, keep in mind, this is one thing you gotta be aware of, okay? So one can say at this point, well, we're not talking about ancient Africa. We're talking about where African Americans came from. We're the American descendants of slavery, okay? We are a group of people who were transported across the transatlantic during the formation of the development of the New World. So where did we come from? Where were our ancestors from? in Africa, because apparently we're not autochthonous or indigenous to the Americas. Although there are some crackpots who would consider us to be just that. I think that's just a bunch of fucking bullshit, if you ask me. That's bullshit. All that Dane Calloway bullshit, if you on that bullshit, you can get the fuck out of here right now. That's just like saying, you know, the earth is flat. We have archival evidence that demonstrates how many people were moved, what time periods they were moved during. Now, please don't. I hope nobody who's Afrocentric is gonna step up here and try to debate with me. I've been reading Afrocentric shit since I was 20. I'm 50 now. Late teens, early 20s. I started reading Afrocentric literature. You can't tell me shit about Theophilo Benga, Ben Yakut, and Ivan Van Sertima that came before Columbus. You can't tell me shit about the Olmec Heads and Jacob Carruthers, Muada Ashby, Anthony Browder, Raoul Effer, Marimba Ani, all that. I've been reading that shit. George E. James, The Stolen Legacy. I've been reading that shit since I was 19, bruh. So you can't tell me nothing about the Afrocentric literature. You can't tell me shit about it. Not a goddamn thing. But we know what the general consensus is in the scientific community is that the majority of African slaves brought to North America during the transatlantic slave trade were from West and Central Africa, bruh. And some of the major ethnic groups or tribes represented among African American populations today can find their origin in the Akan, the Igbo, the Yoruba, Fulani, and the Mandinka. That's just the way it is, bruh. I done the research. I have a doctoral degree, nigga. What the fuck do you have, bruh? No disrespect, though. I'm so tired of crackpot bullshit ass, regular come, Johnny come lately, autodidactic, never been approved, never had double blind peer review, nothing, coming and saying what the fuck reality is, man. Come on, man. Stop the fucking bullshit. We're the only cultural group of people who reject scholarship, man. And likes and subscriptions and memberships and super chats or replacement for double-blind peer-reviewed research. It's fucking ridiculous. This the silly shit. We're the only group of people that let blogs and niggas on the internet, social content creators, determine what the reality of history is, what it's grounded in. We ain't talking about the science of eugenics either, bruh. All you Dane Calloway niggas, y'all need to get the fuck out of here because y'all got something sick in y'all heads, man. Straight up. Go do a search on it, man. I'm not about to go through all this old crackpot bullshit. I just don't have time for it, man. Now to say that I done read they came before Columbus and all of this shit. I done already read the likelihood Thor Heyerdahl and his movement across the trade routes or the wind, routes from on the transatlantic. I done already read that, bro. I already know all the knowledge on that. But I'm not about to be in no crackpot talking about we was all here and, we were all here. The Native Americans was like worshiping us. Come on, man. Cut the fucking bullshit out, bro. The majority of slaves brought to North America were Akan, Igbo, Yoruba, Fulani, and Mandinka. Bottom line. Now, it's important to understand that the exact origins where people came from is difficult to trace due to the disruption and the loss of cultural identity caused by slavery. And we have ancestral roots in multiple ethnic groups and regions from Africa. So the African American experience is diverse. We understand it. It's a heterogeneous community, which is complex, whatever the case may be. I get it. But before I even go any further, I want to make a distinction between matrilineal and matriarchal, because some people don't know how to make a distinction between the two. Matrilineal and matriarchy are not the same. They're not the same. A matrilineal society can trace their descent and inheritance through a female line, whereas a matriarchal society are ones in which women hold the primary power and authority in the society. So in a matrilineal society, again, where inheritance and family identity are passed down through your mama's side, my mama, in most of those family formations, the men still hold positions of power and authority, man. Just because a society is matrilineal doesn't mean it's matriarchal. It doesn't. Y'all need to stop that bullshit. And a lot of feminists do that a whole lot, man. While you have many examples of matrilineal societies all throughout the world, which are many of them, most of them patriarchal, there are very few instances in which you can point to a matriarchal society. Which one is it, bro? Where are they? Amazonia? Where are they, bro? My argument is going to be that today in Western culture, you have a familial, at the institutional level, at the micro of the family, you have less of patriarchy than you had in the matrilineal African societies before colonization. Shout out to Leon. I'm just gonna run through these because I don't want to hold people back, man. So anyway, let's look at the Akan, okay? The Akan, people of West Africa, have a strong family culture based on matrilineal kinship. True. The basic family structure is the extended family, which includes all of the relatives on the mother side of the family. However, the head of the Akan, typical Akan family is the oldest living male in the matrilineal line, known as the Abosamakotwe or some shit like that. Abosamakotwe. That's how it is, man. And they recognize the Akan do 6 main types of relationships within the extended family. The mother and her children, the maternal aunt and her children, the sister and her children, the cousin and their children, the grandmother, the auntie and her children, paternal uncle, the papa and his children. Now they put, emphasis on respect for elders, sharing resources and responsibilities. They believe in the importance of ancestor worship, maintaining connections to the ancestors and so forth, which further reinforces this idea of the extended family. So, but who's at the head of it? Typically, the oldest living male in the matrilineal line. Go look it up. Then you got the Igbo. The people of Nigeria have a family structure also based on extended family known as Obi, Umuna. The extended family includes all of the relatives on the father's side of the family and is headed by the eldest male member known as Ofo. Within the extended family, the Igbo recognize four main types of relationships: the father and his children, Nna; the mother and her children, Nne; the brother and his children, Nwane; and the sister and her children, Nwanyi. In this family structure, the Igbo, great emphasis on the role of the father as the head of the household, provider for the family. Not to say that the mother is devalued, she's not, because she also plays a strong role in raising the children and maintaining the household. They put a great value on community and the sharing of resources and responsibilities within this extended family. They also engage in ancestor worship, which reinforces this whole notion of extended family. Then you have the Yoruba, who have an extended family kinship system known as Ile. And the family includes all of the relatives on both the father's and mother's side of the family, and is headed by the eldest male member known as Baba Ile, or the father of the house. We're talking about pre-colonial Africa and the family formations within it, which is where most people from American society are descendants from. You got the Fulani, who have an extended family system known as Pulaku. Extended family includes all of the relatives on the father's and mother's side of the family and is headed by the eldest male member known as Ordo. You got the Mandinka, who also have a family structure that's extended, but it includes all of the relatives on both the father's and the mother's side. And the eldest male member is the head of the household, known as Al-Mami. But the thing is, the difference between pre-colonial Africa and the type of shit we got going on in the West right now is that men were integral parts of the family system, whereas today they have been excised and marginalized because of Western law and policy. But as soon as we mention this, as soon as we say anything like this, the first thing motherfuckers start doing is talking about Africa and who's fucking who and how is matrilineal. So fucking what? Men and women were integrated into extended family systems in Africa. Today, what we have is a Western world in which people operate upon the political philosophy of negative liberty and the social contract tradition, where they feel like they have rights against other persons, not to be interfered with, not to have their freedom infringed upon. African pre-colonial societies had no concepts of individual liberty and you being able to do whatever the fuck you want unobstructed for other people being able to weigh in on it. It didn't fucking exist. Soon as we mention this, the first thing you say is, well, no, well, come talk to me then. Tell me how it was different. And then somebody said, well, do you have a nuclear family? The problem is, you can't even have a fucking nuclear family in the West anymore. Because all a woman has to do is just unilaterally pull the plug on the shit. She can just say, fuck it. This is a function of Western law. This has nothing to do with pre-colonial African culture or ethics, or political ideology, or family construction.
Hello?
Yeah, man.
Can I still be? Yeah, what's happening?
What's up, man?
Yeah, I totally disagree with everything you just said.
Okay, speak on it then.
I disagree that anybody would deny all that you just said, because everything you just said is the truth about pre-colonial Africa. There's no need for me. There's no need for me to debate anything. That's all. That's all.
I get it, man, but I mean, I'm preaching to the choir when I talk to you. But I'm saying where the pro-black motherfuckers at with the queen mother, earth of the seas, and you know the black women had this much power. And then now, look, I'm not saying that black women had no power within the extended kinship system in pre-colonial Africa. But what I am saying is that in this society, men, especially black men, we have no power over family life, man.
Right,
none.
Right.
Zero.
You're very right. No respect to the concept
everybody
of the
keeps
family,
saying that we have all this goddamn patriarchal power. I'm like, where the fuck is it without the agreement of the woman?
Right. Right.
There's nothing you control. There's nothing you control to where you say, if you don't agree with me, there's going to be consequences. Nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I just can't believe anybody who would call themselves pro-black would actually disagree with everything you just said. That means that they don't really know their history too much.
Well,
they don't know that.
I'm gonna tell you why the pro-blacks have an issue with the black manosphere. Because they say we crying about
I'm pro-black now. I'm pro-black now, but I get what you're saying.
There's a certain section of black people in the black in black YouTube, whatever the case may be, black social media, who have an issue with the black manosphere and some of the issues that they discuss and talk about. Why? Because they feel like they're getting down on women. Oh, you're whining, like Jason Black and shit. Oh, you're the whinosphere. Nigga, how you gonna, like, my question to this motherfucker is this. How you gonna have a black nation if you don't have a black family?
That's very true.
If you're not integrated into family life, how are you going to be actually, and I ain't talking about you allowed to be there like an uncle daddy and shit like that. I'm talking about like where you're there all day, every day. And the woman can't alienate you from the kid, and the community is like, hey, look, it's not just about what the fuck you desire and your happiness, it's about the collectivity and the whole. It's a different political orientation to begin with.
Right.
Okay,
But a lot of, but a lot of black women in today's society, they don't understand those ancient principles which held the society together of African culture. I hear what you're saying about, people on the outside saying that people in the manosphere are whining. But the thing is like what you presented, a lot of brothers really don't know. And hopefully you can still hear me. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, but it's a lot of wind and shit like that.
Yeah, I'm outside right now. But a lot of the information that you just gave is a lot of what a lot of brothers don't know, and they can't relate it in such a fashion to where it's really understood by not only women but the men also.
Let me back you out because you're just a little noisy. When you get a little more quiet, come back.
Okay.
GG, I'm gonna keep it short, but if you could explain to them about like African family totems within this conversation, because it came from both sides, and maybe the fact that pro-blacks and all these groups select woman goddesses on purpose to make it fit their argument when Maybe
Bro,
that would help because
either
they're selecting.
either it's money or either it's just acquiescence. Like, okay, I'm not gonna buck the system. But either way, like even that, man, look, all I'm saying is I can't stand to hear people argue about the various ways in which black men want to reproduce Western patriarchal culture, but then you act as if like black women are immune, like to having any influence enacted upon their psyche or their culture or their habits by Western patriarchal culture. It's ridiculous. It's just like, okay, we're impacted, they're not. We have ambitions, they don't. We're rendered pathological by these experiences, they're not. It's fucking ridiculous. This is some ridiculous shit. But if you say something about it, now all of a sudden you're preventing unity from occurring? It makes no fucking sense to me. If the truth prevents unity, then fuck it. Then I'm against unity then. Because I'm not gonna lie in order to get along. I'm not gonna do it.
Can I speak to that goddess concept I think the brother was talking about?
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, if I sound a little bit better, I'm kind of on the bus right now, so I hope I ain't interrupting. But a lot of the brothers in the space who are, I guess you would call a conscious community, who utilize, the goddess system, they just really doing that to try to flatter women into getting some coochie. That's what a lot of that is. Although, the goddess concept was real in Africa because women were revered, that was because the woman wasn't put behind after, the godhead was made into a male figure. Or, the Osiris gave rise after, above Isis in a sense. So a lot of the brothers, man, they don't really know that information, because once, once patriarchy, if you will, was established in Africa, the matrilineal system, it went on, but women didn't have primary rule and say in the family structure, and I mean in marriage being established. Once the concept of marriage had become established, the man had become the head, but the woman was still revered, but she had her position. She definitely had her position.
You still got a lot of noise going on. So come back when the noise is not present, bro. I appreciate you.
Yes.
Though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, thanks.
Let me get to my man here, Smitty. What's going on, bro?
Man, respect to you, black man. Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you much clearly. Yes, sir.
My man, respect. So this is my whole thing with this, right? Like, I'm hearing this discussion. This is dope, bro. I just want to say this. I love this topic right here. I myself, as of being in this YouTube space and in these little spaces right here for like about close to a year now. That's it. I'm still a baby in this, right? But I'm already seeing like this whole like pro-black manosphere, all of that, and it's like I'm gonna be real with you, brother. I hopped in these spaces because I am a man of solution. Okay. I am a man that my whole everything is about, okay, let's identify whatever the problem is, and then let's go ahead and let's redirect the whole discussion and everything that we doing, and let's go ahead and focus and pinpoint and have tunnel vision on the solution. Right. And let's go ahead and capitalize on that. And I'm seeing like, once again, no matter what it is, whether it's black Republicans, black Democrats, whether it's black straight men, black gay men, whether it is light skinned niggas versus dark skinned niggas, whether it is the manosphere, seriously, bro, it's like for some reason, we just can't seem to get shit right. And I ain't even coming at pinpointing no either side. Now, me, like, I would be like, if anybody see the spaces I be in, I mean, it would be considered, manosphere space. I don't consider myself that. I just consider myself an individual thinker. I observe what's going on. And, basically, the manosphere is the closest thing to my ideology and thinking that I can get to. But the point in which I'm saying right now to you, brother, is that continuously there's so much talk about what's wrong with the pro-blacks, what's wrong with the manosphere, but I'm seeing neither one side, brother, is really making no real push to go ahead and shut the other one up through action. Seriously. I'm sitting back. See, I'm one of the real ones. I'm sitting back. I'm laid back in the creases, and I'm just watching this whole thing unfold and play out. And I'm just saying, okay, bet pro-black manosphere. Okay, bet the conscious niggas, the dudes that's like, woman, get in the kitchen and fix my plate. Bet. Let me see who actually makes the first move. I'm looking at this whole thing like a chessboard, and it's like we had a stalemate, and nobody's even moved a piece yet.
Well, let me explain it to you like this, bro. The first thing you have to do. Hold on. Before we, I say anything, I want to acknowledge Complex. What's good with you, bro? How you doing?
That's my man.
I'll let you speak in a real quick second, but here's the thing. You can try to make a move to change policy, but you can't change the hands of time. You can't change what came before.
Okay.
Now, you can make a change on what's to come. Mm-hmm. But you can't unilaterally change the momentum of the 10 Years Abolition Act.
Okay.
Like there's no fucking way you can do that. Now, if you can figure that out, he's a badass man.
Well, watch this. This is where I'm at, though, brother. I hear exactly what you're saying, and guess what? Me as one individual, that is such a very, very complex and overwhelming thought to have. You want to know why? I'm gonna tell you right now, everything that you just said, I'm gonna tell you where the root of that is. See, I'm looking at the tree, but I'm gonna tell you where the root is. The root of that is that we already got it implanted in our soil DNA system that we will never come through for one another. We will never have enough to rally behind one of us. So the reason why you spoke like that was such an impossible feat is because you know that us as a people has already been defeated. That's not, bro. Don't do that, man. Don't come on now.
Don't attribute a position or a
I'm listening to every word you're saying.
You're listening to what I'm saying. I'm telling you, look, if I want to win a football game, I can tell you what's in the realm of possibility and what's not.
Right.
Just because I'm telling you that one play or a means by which to score is off the table doesn't mean that all plays are off the fucking table.
My brother, how do you win the game? How do you win the game? You win the game by not sitting around talking about how we won't be able to make the play happen.
All we're doing is talking
what I'm saying is that how do we win the game?
I'm explaining to you, man, how we win the game. Listen,
go ahead.
Like we're already starting to have, first of all, consciousness raising is part of winning the game.
I agree.
So like if you got people who are playing the game supposedly together and they have no plays, they have no structure, they've never practiced, they've never had any dialogue to see how things are wrong, they have no staging, they can't play the game.
Now listen to everything you just did. Hold on, real quick, not even cut you up, brother, please. Everything you just said, beautiful. You see how you were so in such an articulate way able to say everything that is wrong. That is the main thing that Smitty's saying. The only thing Smitty's saying is we know how to in detail describe what is the problem. I'm trying to figure out what is the issue with now moving to the next level. And the only thing I get from my own is pushback and some form of excuse. You have the floor, sir. I digress. My mic is muted.
Okay, so here's the deal, man. What you're asking for or what you demand requires not just unilateral action on part of any particular contingency in the American population or the African American population.
Okay.
Okay. Now, you have to understand, first and foremost, you live within a system.
I agree.
You don't live like in a fiat world where you can make anything come about because you're utilizing like.
Well, we somewhat do, sir. It's called capitalism. Somewhat we do. You can capitalize on anything you want to. And we have seen endless proofs of this from all directions, from people who came over here with nothing to those of us who were brought up here with nothing and made something of themselves. So the fact is, capitalism is that
capitalism is
point.
not the end all, man. I'm not.
It doesn't matter. That's a beautiful starting point. See, there you go. No.
I'm gonna have to remove you, dog, because you're trying to overtalk me on my own channel, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna allow that shit to happen. You got to chill. Strictly business, bro. I'm the sole controller and the master of this motherfucker right here. Okay? Now, and I'm writing articles about capitalism, how the economy has moved away from an industrial base to a service-based economy that primarily is utilizing financialization as a means and a method by which to drive profit. This is not a conversation about capitalism, okay? I'm not here to have that conversation. I'm here to have a conversation about pre-colonial Africa and the family formations within it. That's it. That's a narrow fucking conversation. Now, if you want to have a conversation at some later time T3, T4, about what to do about it, we can have that conversation then. But for now, we're having a fucking conversation about history and the family formation in pre-colonial Africa. I'd like to take shit in digestible pieces. I don't want to try to solve everything all at goddamn once. I can't do that. I'm not trying to take on every subject matter in one day. I'm trying to take a bite off of one thing. Family formation in pre-colonial Africa. Complex design. You got something to say about it, bro?
You know what, man? Honestly, dude, I was coming up on a point that y'all was building off of, but it was, but in hindsight, it is off topic, bro, so I'm not going to drag it. Hey,
but go ahead, man. You can speak on it. I don't mind you deviating to some degree if the conversation is natural, but then you're not going to keep dragging me, to a tangent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, shout out to Smitty. I know that cat, but
God bless him. I'm not.
I think that's his first time up here. I think that was his first time up here. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But shout outs to him.
Shout out to him. No disrespect. I'm like, but come on, bro. Like, but yeah, what's the point though, Complex? Look, I did get your email, by the way. I got your email.
Okay, yeah, that was really the main thing, man. I sent you some information. I sent you some attachments. So any information you need for the post that you want to do for the website. And if there's anything else you want to know, man, just let me know.
For sure, bro. Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. Straight
up.
I want to interview. I want to talk to you one-on-one and do a write-up in the my blog, and then also I want to have a show where we come on and just talk specifically about your business. And how do you how you're perceiving it taking off, and how you perceive it in 10 to 15 years.
I think that conversation right there, man, would kind of be more apropos for what y'all were just discussing, but I know the main topic is something else, man, so I'm gonna let you get back to it and rock on it.
For sure. Appreciate that.
All right, appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you. So I put you on chill, Smitty, because if I'm going to complete a task, like say for example I'm in the kitchen and my goal is to wash the dishes, I'm not going to start cooking while I'm washing the dishes. I know people say, well, you can multitask. I like to do one thing at a time, or at least create a system where I'm doing multiple things at multiple times. But I can't mop the floor, wash the dishes. I can't cook macaroni and cheese, fry a steak, bake a potato, and do it all well simultaneously. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I got to be focused. I have to create a plan. I can't do everything. I need to learn how to isolate tasks and achieve and accomplish those tasks. So what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to have a conversation about the family structure in pre-colonial Africa and how people are arguing that it's different in such a way that it allowed for or permitted for a single parenthood. And I'm saying that just is not the fucking case. It's not the truth. Men were deeply integrated into familial life, whether it be extended family life or nuclear family life in Africa. They weren't pushed to the periphery or marginalized. Now, it just so happens that we do live in a Western society. There's no way to escape that. You speak English if you were born in America. You speak English. You were tutored or you went through or matriculated through their institutions, their schools. You went to their hospitals. You know, when you got sick, you are immersed thoroughly in American Western culture. Okay? It is what it is. Now, the question then is, how do you divest yourself from something that is endemic to who you are, your identity formation? How do you begin to develop an entirely different culture, a different set of cultural practices and norms by fiat? How do you do that? And it's one thing to say, okay, I have a plan. It's another thing to say, oh, we can just do it we can just decide it and it'll be. Like, first of all, you know how difficult it is for a human being to change a habit themselves? Like, okay, I don't want to, like, I'm going to stop drinking soda for 6 months. That's already difficult for a motherfucker to do, okay? Or I'm going to stop consuming processed foods. I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to stop smoking, okay? Difficult things to do for some people, okay? Now, how you going to tell people who've been immersed in a culture predicated upon the norm of individual liberty, freedom from other people, can't tell them what to do, government, don't tell me what to do, institutions, don't tell me what to do, and then develop a cohesive unit where we move in concert with one another? It's going to be, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying we have to understand what the problems we're going to encounter are and develop a methodology how to overcome them, how to get over the hurdle, how to get under the hurdle, how to go around the motherfucker. We got to find some way to do it. One thing I say is we can hold people accountable and at least say, if you make oaths with other individuals in the black community, preserve the oath. How about that? That's one solution right there.
Okay.
Let's preserve our oaths with one another. If we get married, we are entering into a covenant.
Okay.
Not based upon our individual happiness, whether it's male or female. This is directed towards a larger goal. People forget the spiritual essence of what marriage is supposed to be about. It now becomes, well, I want this nigga to have some money. Right. I want this chick to be able to wash my clothes or something. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be deeper than that. It's supposed to be about the two becoming one.
Right.
But now it's about this nigga need to have this. This nigga need to have that. She need to be able to do this. Whatever happened to having a team? Now right. you can be, this is a function of Western culture though. You could be sleeping with the enemy, somebody who despises you, and in the next minute can fucking go and file a court order and take half of your shit, strip you away from your child, and then you're wondering like what the fuck happened, and then they telling you you're a deadbeat.
Mm.
This is a deep-seated problem, man. A lot of brothers, what I see a lot of brothers having issues in the manosphere.
Right.
But whatever issues it is that they're having, they're being told, you're lying. Oh, suck it up. Oh, well, you know, you've been alienated from your kid. Fuck it. But then at the same time, you're being told to step up and take care of your kid. It's like, wait a minute. What the fuck do you want me to do? You're talking about black men who are on a downwardly mobile track in America. Mm-hmm. Despite the capitalist opportunities that exist abound, the facts are empirically we're on a downwardly mobile track, even if we come from two-parent families.
Right.
What the fuck do we do to try to turn the ship around? Now, it would help identify the sources of problems. I'm trying to identify some ways to fix it. I know I don't have all the answers. The one thing I think that black people lack that other people do have is they have institutions that enable them to collectively make decisions. We don't have any.
Right.
They hate each other, but they got the fucking Congress in every state and every city. They got a legislative, a judicial, and an executive body where they make decisions about what the fuck they gonna do. On the other hand, all we do is we do the best we can to work and pay our bills and to pay the taxes.
Yep.
We don't do collective decision making or self-governance as a collective.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucked up. But we don't believe in statecraft. And when we did, shit, I mean, you know, white folks hung crosses, I mean, you know, burned crosses and shit and hung Negroes. For, you know, you uppity motherfucker, you act like you deserve to actually have a say in how your life is going to be organized. You know what I'm saying? So the only thing I'm trying to rise, and I was looking for pro-black people and feminists to come, because I'm tired of hearing this whole concept of
Right.
what we're saying is dangerous. You mean the truth is the truth about family formation in America is dangerous? No, it's not about hating single women. It's not about hating anybody.
Right.
This is about basically saying men have been marginalized from family life in Western society, and here are the reasons why.
Okay.
10 Years Abolition Act, Custody of Infants Act, the 1873 addition or addendum that brought through the tender years doctrine.
Right.
How do we change the judicial and the legal system and work within the academy, even on social media, to begin to say, hey, look, there's a group of men who are undergoing terrible experiences. They feel like they're excised, cut off from family life. In the long run, the effects are not going to be good. And black folks pro-blacks and feminists need to stop arguing that this shit is actually like part of what pre-colonial African culture was like. That's a lie.
Right. Okay.
Well, and the only thing I can say is, man, look, if you have a kid, in today's culture, it don't matter how much money you got. You can be rented to Uncle Daddy unilaterally. And ain't shit you can do about it. What can you do?
Okay. Good point.
I love the woman. I did right. I did everything I thought it was right. But, you know, unilaterally, she decided to break her covenant, which was the marriage agreement is for better, for worse, sickness and health, till death do us part. What's the use of saying that shit if there's no fucking reality to it? What's the use of even getting into an agreement that's not really an agreement? It's some play shit. This is play. And the thing that she extracts from you is your progeny. And they saying that this has its basis in matrilineal African culture. I'm saying that's a goddamn lie. That's not the truth, man. Would the extended kinship family in Africa allow for or permitted for women to abscond with the children? Which fucking tribe? Which one?
All right.
So at the end of the day, I'm not here to, you know, look, I'm not. The only thing I'm saying is I get it. I understand that we got to develop solutions. We have to try to find ways. But like, I got a brother right now, man, you know, he's a colleague, man, Dr. Tiasan Johnson. He's drawn up a plan that, you know, hopefully, you know, some politicians at some point will look at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you got to develop the demands that you have and present them to politicians and policymakers and lobbyists. You have to have a plan before you can put it in other people's purview.
I'm just trying to get set up here, brother, and then soon as you're finished, I'll go ahead. I'm just getting set up. So go ahead. I'm almost done.
So, you know, at the end of the day, bro, you know, all I can say is, man, I'm looking to talk to some people, man, not preach to the choir today. I'm looking to hear from these guys to say that the shit that we're talking about is our desire to, you know, emulate, to mimic, to Xerox, to copy white patriarchy. And I'm like, this is what we're asking for is not white patriarchy.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Okay.
And the problem is, here's the issue. Like with people like pro-blactive, like, why are we going to wait for a politician? Because we operate within the context of American jurisprudence. if there's a dispute between a father and a mother, where does she go? She goes to the family court system, correct?
Yep.
And if she goes to the family court system, what's the prevailing trend in terms of decisions and how they get meted out by the court system? Who typically gets custody? And who typically gets visitation?
All right,
Now,
so
you can desire all you might. You can desire all you may to be an integral part of a family. But if she decides that you're not going to be in the integral part of the family, you don't get it. You're not there.
Yep.
let me ask you a question, brother, real quick. All right, so when it comes to these laws, right now, mind you, we're on the same page on a lot of stuff you're saying. All right, so let me just make that clear. One thing that I found to be very confusing about this whole, like, even with the marriage laws and stuff, I've spoke about it before, right? So the thing that I found to be the most confusing is, didn't men write up these laws, right? I don't think it was women that wrote up the marriage laws. So I've been confused for the longest as to how have women been able to trick bag us out of the very laws that we put in place, right? So I get you on that. So where my head is all right, bet. I think honestly, we should put more advocation out for men to look into the laws in the state in which you live in before you get married. Because let's think about it, brother. I made this example before, and I'll use it again because I think it's a good one. From Brittany Renner all the way down to the chick who married that midget guy who passed away from the Austin Power movie, right? Both of them, just real quick, a perfect example how they were able to know the law that men put into place, right? And what they did was, okay, so Brittany Renner, as soon as he got pregnant with, as soon as she got pregnant, had the baby, somehow or another, he's the NBA star. He is the meal ticket. And she puts him out. Somehow or another, wherever they lived, she knew exactly what to do. The midget guy that played on Austin Powers, he was married to, he got himself a nice looking model type chick and everything. It's some kind of California law where, like, right after 10 years, you can divorce, and somehow or another something, blah, blah, blah. The woman can take you for what you got. She divorced that man literally on the day of year 10. She knew exactly what to do. So I would say, as a start for us men, I believe that we should really start having brothers who who know about the marriage laws and things of that nature. I think that we should have more discussions and brothers pull up who actually know about these things, right?
That's why you got the lead attorney. He's telling you what the shit is.
I watch Lee. Trust me, bro. We all in the same spaces. I'm on this panel right now because we all in the same spaces. We all know the same people. Trust me.
For sure.
I'm hip.
You asked the question. You asked
No,
the question.
I'm not saying it like that, bro. Just get to know Smitty, bro. Just get to know Smitty.
You cool.
So I'm landing it respectfully to your show. I'm landing it. So all I'm saying is that when it comes to that part, right, we need to make sure that we at least know the law. That's like big. When you was talking about how do we change all this going on, my personal idea, a lot of people may not take it serious, but I genuinely think it really would smack hard. How do we change our Black culture? First of all, we have to think of what are Black people to the world? We are the world's what? Entertainment. We are, from sports, rapping, music, athleticism, you name it. We're the world's comedy.
I get it, Smitty, man. You got to land it though, like you said. You got because I got two other people here. You know what I'm saying? So they want to be a part of the conversation too. So I get it. Talk to me now. You gonna wrap it up?
We
right?
are the world's entertainment. How do we change the Black community? We have to change the entertainment. We got to think about the type of shows we used to grow up to. We got to think about the type of songs we used to listen to. We got to think about the type of communities we used to grow up to, right? So from the shows and the music and everything that is shown to us, it really does promote breaking up. Don't be together. Don't worry about ever sliding on or killing somebody else. Make sure you do it to your own, right? So we have to make sure that we change the entertainment. We have to change the shows. We got to change the music. We got to change how we operate on social media if we're going to associate on it. I digress.
Okay,
My mic is muted.
Okay, AB, what's going on, man? Talk to me, bro.
Hey, what's going on, Gigi? How you doing?
What's cracking? What's cracking?
So let me get this straight. The you call them pro-blacks. I call them. I actually have a specific term, at least for the ones who call themselves pro-black right now. I call them pander Africans. Not pan-African. Let's not get it twisted. Pander Africans. And let's just keep it funky. I call them pander Africans because all they really do is pander for black pussy. Now,
yeah, I can see that. I can see that happening. You know, or they've been like educated, indoctrinated, and like I have principally. I'm not. Look, I don't have a problem with unity, but I do have a problem with unity that's predicated upon falsity. I'm not going to have unity under the auspices of a lie. Now, I'll have unity after we hammer it out based upon truth and justice, but I'm not going to believe, that I should have unity at any cost. It has to be equitable, fair. It has to be reciprocitous. I'm not going to have unity at any cost. There has to be balance within this. If you want to talk about Afrocentric, concepts, let's start there. Let's start with balance. Yeah. But we act as if this is the thing that fucks me up about, I ain't gonna say necessarily the pro-blacks, but at least for damn sure the feminist intersectionalists. They'll argue that the unjust family system that we have now, which is gynocentric, there's no doubt about it. Okay? That this is fair. This is just. You mean somebody unilaterally being able to split apart, break your family open based upon hedonism?
Yep.
And the idea of negative liberty, that after they've made a covenant to the contrary, that's fucking fair? But that's American family law. And women, not only women fought for this shit. Men assented or consented to it. Okay? When it comes to the, like the 1660 10 Years Abolition Act, all male. But see, men don't always think in, their immediate self-interest or their long-term self-interest. Like, I'm pretty sure these guys thought that they were doing the right thing. Okay? Apparently they did. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done what they did. Or they thought they were doing something that worked to their advantage.
That part.
Hold on. Let me finish. Because I wouldn't. Let me finish. They talk about how we're dangerous and we're what we're doing is dangerous. Well, let's see, 50. Well, probably more than 50 years, but 50 years of a black matriarchy that hasn't been dangerous. If that was so safe, why is Richard Reeves writing a book, a white man writing a book about the plight of black boys? He
ain't just writing about. He's discussing black boys, but he's primarily writing about white boys. I guarantee you that. But I mean, look, here's the deal, right? These people are trying to make dysfunction appear to be functional by going back and in a piecemeal fashion, like a pastiche, trying to attach our contemporary culture onto pre-colonial African culture. This shit is not going to work. They're incommensurate cultures. Different cultural seeds, different philosophical and principled origins, and ways of operating in the world. You can't compare and contrast Western culture and its deification of negative liberty with the kind of mindset the pre-colonial Africans had in the development and the maintenance of family institutions. It's ridiculous.
So in other words, they want to put slave culture on African culture.
They actually are. They trying to do it.
There you go.
I'm saying that you
that's
can't.
The point I was
going to
make right there.
I'm saying that you can't say that some shit born out of pathology, exploitation, and anti-black misandry, that's pre-colonial African culture. No, that's some nigga shit. Hog maws, pig feasts, and chitlins that you trying to pass off as fucking pre-colonial African. It's not, man. Now I'm not trying to demonize single mothers. That's not what the point is. That's what some motherfuckers do. That's not my point. And all this shit about danger, man, all that's hyperbolic bullshit. The first thing feminists do, people, their acolytes, or people who, fuck with them, the first thing they do is they start the faint couch shit. You know what I'm saying? That's the first thing they start doing. Oh, it's so dangerous. Oh, the world is it's a slippery slope argument. If we listen to these guys, there's so much danger here. Come on, man. Cut out the hyperbolic bullshit.
We hate
the dysfunction is already here. The problems we have are already here. Homicide. The lack of ability to function in the scholastic environment. Like fissured families where men are not involved in a substantive way. The idea of, like, one thing motherfuckers talk about already, like, they overemphasize, like, in black YouTube, especially the divestors and the pink pill motherfuckers, whatever. I don't really watch them, but one thing I can guarantee you they emphasize is the black macho. The black macho, he's so macho. He feel like he so, like much of a man, is hyper masculine and all this shit. What we never talk about is the fucking superwoman. The black independent boss bitch that can do it all by herself. Come on, man. Like, that's not pre-colonial African culture, bro. It's not. You ain't got no pre-colonial boss bitches that don't, like, I'm independent. Even the rulers, if they are matriarchal, are going to look out for what's best for the unit, not just for what the fuck they desire.
Yep. I call them the I'm an independent.
This is stop putting Western norms, attaching Western norms to pre-colonial Africa. It's bullshit. And I'm here to call it out. That's why I say, where y'all at? But they won't step up and holler at me. They won't fuck with me. They won't have a conversation with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait in the wings and pop up one day on these panels and get it in.
If they don't kick you off, but yeah.
They won't listen anyway.
But like, my whole thing is, bro, this is not about, look, we already know that white women basically hijacked the civil rights movement and took all the shit that was supposed to be a portion of black folks for themselves.
Yep.
We already know it. We already know that's what occurred. Now, black women as women are able to participate to some degree because white women have used the category of womanhood, qua womanhood, in order to, basically snatch shit out of black folks' mouths.
Yeah.
Qua black qua black, okay? But here's the deal. This shit is not predicated upon merit. It's not predicated upon desert. It's not predicated upon magic. It's policy. That's what we've been trying to say over and over again. This shit is about policy. Policies that advantage certain demographics in the United States over others.
True.
And black men are like, we not getting nothing out of this shit. So if we're not getting nothing out of it, why the fuck should we support and endorse it? If we're talking You saying our very mentioning of the fact that we ain't getting fed is a fucking problem. That we're getting
it is a problem
marginalized
in
and
their
excised from family life, it's a goddamn problem.
in
But
their
it's
perspective,
dangerous.
It is dangerous in their perspective.
Well, if you want to hold on to a modicum of power predicated upon a lie that you hope black men are going to, basically accept based on some charm, I don't know, an enchantment, a fucking, a spell, or what the fuck is this, bro?
It's all, Gigi, it all goes back to what people don't want to deal with when it comes to the founding of the nation and slavery. I mean, for them, I was kind of chuckling. I jumped on here because the other guy was talking about capitalism, but capitalism in itself is not African. So when we're talking about, my man got on here and he started talking about, capitalism, and we need to do this and we need to do that. But you got to understand that the black man was never meant to, the black man is the floor. We are the capital. So, of course, to anybody who buys wholesale into capitalism that goes all the way back to slavery, they're going to think that us talking about pulling the floor underneath capitalism, because capitalism has to have winners and losers. Of course, it's dangerous if we pull ourselves as the floor from under their feet, they're going to fall. So it's dangerous to them. It makes sense to me when I hear them say it's dangerous. Yeah, because y'all expect us to be fucked up and y'all expect to ride on top of us. So yes, it's dangerous, but fuck y'all. You know what I'm saying? It's dangerous for y'all. And that's the part that people don't want to, they don't want to deal with that. This
is what it is. I'm going to tell you what all this shit boiled down to. If you really want to know what all this shit boiled down to, man, the 64 Civil Rights Act gave certain groups of persons economic advantages. And motherfuckers don't want that shit to go away.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
Even if you roll back before that, which, just talk again, going back to the founding of the nation, the economic advantage belongs to the white man, right? So when you hear these feminists and these pro-blacks say, oh, you trying to be like the white patriarchy. Well, if the white patriarchy is equivalent to being an equal participant in capitalism, then yes, we deserve a fair deal in capitalism like everybody else. But they're like, oh, they want to flip it and say, oh, you're trying to be like the white man. Well, so are you. All of y'all are sitting around talking about capitalism this and capitalism that. None of that shit is African. The pro-black is not pro-African at all. Them niggas are pro-black because blackness is a creation of white people in America. Black was not a word before the United States.
I get your point. Like, look, here's my issue, right? Like, at the end of the day, we've taken categories created by white women and post-structural philosophers in the Western world, and now we're going to attach, we love those values so much, we're going to look for them elsewhere in the world and see if anybody else embodied them in any way.
Right.
Which is anachronistic for, first of all, it's some bullshit. That's not what you do, man. In order to, develop, support for your hypothesis or your concepts of justice or anything like that. It's non-historiographical, graphically accurate, for one. For two, it's reaching for straws and it is predicated upon confirmation bias as opposed to the establishment of the truth. Man, look, all I can tell you is I've already laid down what I consider to be the facts about pre-colonial Africa, namely that you got a lot of matrilineality there, okay? You got extended family networks there, but you don't have the marginalization of men in that fucking extended family network that's matrilineal. They're not excised away from it.
But GG, that's because in Africa there was no division of race. It was not advantageous to anybody to marginalize the black man in nations of all black people. Whereas here,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Here, it's advantageous for them to marginalize black men. So yes, of course it's dangerous to them for us to want to throw off the yokes of slavery because it's just modern slavery.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you what this shit is. Curry said it 10 years ago. Adolph Reed said it 4 or 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, there's an economic driving force behind feminist theory. Okay? There always has been. Okay? Today it's being concealed under the aegis of protecting women from abuse. That's why the danger argument continues to be, brought up. It's like, oh, what you're saying is so dangerous, going to lead to so much abuse. Man, dude, cut the fucking bullshit out, man. We've been knowing from day one that abuse is something that both men and women engage in. In fact, maybe if there was extended networks of families where men were involved more substantively, you probably have less contact with abuse to begin with because other people will be watching what motherfuckers is doing. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, like, at the end of the day, people, like, hurt or harm children when they're by themselves, not in front of other grown-ass people. Because then the first thing that's going to happen is, why you hurting that little kid? What the fuck are you doing? Unless you got an entire kinship group that, like, enjoys sadism and shit and hurting people and shit like that, which is highly unlikely. I mean...
they also...
Look, I got one last thing to say and I'm going to give over the floor to y'all. But, I mean, I want the equalizer to speak, but predominantly, man, a lot of boys, their first exposure to violence is from their fucking mothers, man. And we don't believe in spankings and shit. We believe in whoopings, dog. With race car tracks and fucking extension cords and shit. That's the sort of shit we like. We like torturing fucking kids. We don't spare the rod because we believe we're gonna spoil the child. So we beat the shit out of them. There's a reason why everybody knows the acronym. Get your black ass in this motherfucking house before I beat your motherfucking ass. We done all heard it.
Right.
But I know I heard it.
Yeah, but again, Gigi, it goes back to it's basically the black manosphere is the group of slaves that's plotting to run away, and the pro-blacks and the feminists are the ones who are laying up on the plantation saying, if y'all run, we gonna get beat when y'all leave. So to them, we are dangerous. But the real fear is that they don't want to take part in capitalism just like everybody else. But then they say, oh, why do y'all want to do that? So they are good with their lot in life, and they expect us to take, our lot in life as, with the bad deal. That's all I got, man. I'm over.
Thank you, man. Equalizer, you got something to say? Then I'm about to go ahead and pass. It's almost at the 2-hour mark. I'm about to go ahead and get at this chili I got,
Yes, sir. Peace to the chat. What I want to say was, I mean, on at least on this side, we've pretty much we've looked at everything as factual as possible. I think the issue is even engaging in those who cannot do the same. Obviously don't show in my opinion, decent level of intelligence because they can't even hold two opposing opinions, let alone they're not even reading the facts and they can't put two and two together. Okay, so I just think it's, for the most part, looking at the results where it is today, it shouldn't be hard to see that what it is that, generally speaking, the subculture believes does not clearly work. And you're a minority in numbers. So you don't have the luxury of taking your time and, just being all over the place about making moves. It just that's not how it works, ever in history. And last, side note, I could see there are some changes going on around the country, but it's slow. Like recently, beginning of this year, Maryland, they're already proposing that you can go to court, get a court order to get a paternity test without the other parent's permission. That's change. That's how it works in this environment. Policies need to change. It starts from environment, culture, subculture, then you as an individual. But this rugged individual mentality, you will get destroyed because this life is a team sport. So too many, unfortunately, in this country, black folks believe too much in this rugged individualism, but clearly the shit doesn't work. Okay, fine. If you supposedly want to be, if you're really happy, supposedly being single, not having a family, this, that, and the third, why would you even argue with people or have conversations?
Big facts.
Bro, let me explain something to you, man. Human beings are social animals.
Exactly.
They need connection.
Yes.
All right. And one could argue, like, even if we had extended family relationships, like clan, kinship, kind of family formations, where men were actually present. And in Africa, pre-colonial Africa, they were present, bro.
Oh, yeah.
All this, there was no, oh, well, you know what? I'm going to divorce my husband. Fuck this nigga. I mean, I'm not saying that divorces or separations between people didn't ever happen. I don't think that that's true. But there's a lot more involved in it. It's easier to do in contemporary American culture than it ever was to do in pre-colonial Africa. Because you're not just married to a person, you're married to an entire family.
Exactly. And you didn't have the state to rely on for your poor decisions. And
then you didn't have the operating framework of political ideology, which basically tells you that the subject is supreme.
Exactly.
Okay, like it's like, okay, I am what I want and what I desire right here and right now is the summum bonum. And if I'm not happy, then this is American culture. It breeds it feeds the infantile ego to work. And I mean, I'm just saying, like, but we act like the infantile ego is an expression of freedom. But this like freedom to do what?
Indulge.
You got Tia Mari. She just separated her husband. For what reason?
Yeah. Her feelings.
I'm not happy. So now to get happy, what you need to do, go find another nigga, go through the same process and break your oath again?
But she's on Instagram, like showing her body like she's a hot 22-year-old.
But dog,
she's a grown teenager.
But Gigi, let me throw something at you. Now I spent the greater part of let's say the last 10 years in Africa, living in Africa, and what I do see over that, what happens in Africa is the person who gets, the deference that the younger people need now are the elders. But so you can't really say anything to an old man or old woman in Africa. But now you have here in the U.S., you've got the younger. Everybody's like, well, I deserve the best. I deserve the best. I'm not happy. But what you also see in Africa is the elders, by the time they reach that age of maturity, like you said, it's not infantile. The things that they are demanding are for the betterment of the community. Yeah. And we don't have that community here where people are like, I want what's best for me because what's best for me, I believe is what's best for the community. It's just like, nah, it's all infantile and selfish shit. And you got a motherfucker who's 20 years old trying to call shots like they 70. Like, nah, fuck off.
Let me just say this shit, right? So as an academician, man, I have been involved with like straight up Africans. You know what I'm saying? Like there'll be an Africa conference. I'll go to the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? True. I'll sit there and drink, eat, talk, converse. And, there's a hierarchical structure there. They don't make any bones about it. There's no hiding it.
Right.
Like I remember one time I came in, I was eating Chick-fil-A or some shit, right? The dude who run the program, who like the head over the conferences, like one of the big wigs in the department and everything, man, he just went in my chicken box and shit. And like as an African American, that's like, you don't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the typical African American response is, bitch ass nigga, what you doing in my chicken box? Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, you're 100% right.
But in that culture, it's like, look, I'm the elder.
Right.
First of all, you are a part of my community, and you're benefiting from me even attaching myself to you. I'm already an established scholar. You trying to get your shit published. I'm the motherfucker who can make it happen.
Yeah. And
he did make it happen.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's like, there's a hierarchy here. I'm just testing you really. The guy probably was like, I want to see if this motherfucker's all about himself Or
Yes.
would he be willing to give up something in order, like to understand it's bigger than him? Like, he didn't give a fuck about that chicken.
Right.
He got all these, man, look, I'm going to tell you this. Going to fuck around with them dudes, man, like who have positions in America already, but already have attachments in Africa because they, like chieftains and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they got big bread, man.
Yeah.
Stupid bread. Like, I was like, okay, they got a upfront party and a behind the scenes party where the big wigs and the chieftains and the elders be. And they give you the rock gut liquor and shit, and they got all the premium shit. I mean, box upon box upon box of premium liquor and food and everything.
Facts.
I've seen it with my own eyes. The only thing they ask is, man, hey, look, be respectful when you're around this man and stop trying to be the center of attention and listen to us talk.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So, like, but like Americans, they want to run the shit. All I'm saying is, I've had contact with African culture, man. Contemporary, never could have, I can't have contact with pre-colonial Africa. All I can do is study it, you know what I'm saying? And try to piece together what the value system would be like. But I know one thing. The value system that they would have would not be anything like the sexual revolutionary cosmopolitan idea about who the individual is and happiness, the exploration of happiness and the development of a life plan within it. It's not like Sex in the City, man. That's not how they live life, bro.
Right.
But this is how we live life. We're gonna juxtapose our concept of sexual liberty and freedom on pre-colonial Africa and then use it to justify the marginalization and the pushing to the periphery of men and family life in contemporary America. That's some sadistic shit to me, man. That's fucked up. I'm eating these almonds though, but I'm about to get off this, man. I think that's intellectually dishonest.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying it ain't never, ever in the world, no gay shit going on in Africa. Like there wasn't alternative family constructions in Africa. I'm not saying any of that. But what I am saying is, you can't knock the fact that you can't deny that men were an integral and a substantive part of the decision-making processes that took place in family life in pre-colonial Africa. You're not gonna say that shit.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And TM, I don't know who you are, man. All that prison babble shit, man, bruh. Man, cut it out, man. Some Africans are dying to get here, some are not. You got some Africans are billionaires, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got rich and poor everywhere, dog.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
I mean, the whole idea, and then prison, like, man, come on, man. Like, bruh, some of you dudes, man, you talk like crackers, but you have no power like crackers. That's the shit that fucks me up.
Exactly.
You just summarized the whole stream.
Yep. Niggas got the attitude of Clayton Bigsby and shit, but there's a nigga like a motherfucker.
Yeah, you summarized the whole stream with that statement right there. and the same with the women. You like you guys always say, the women want to be Miss Ann.
Yep.
And the dudes want to be Chad, but James Brown said it the best. I mean, you got to pay the cost to be the boss, the elders are usually the ones who have paid the cost to go in your chicken box.
Exactly. They
got these young people out here who just want to be respected just because they on Earth. Like, let's sit the fuck down.
Or because they graduated from college, but you still haven't. What have you accomplished?
And look, one thing I'm also not saying is that African culture was like this panacea, like it was perfect and pristine. No. There was no violence taking place there, no corruption, no scandals. Like there's no place on earth where corruption and scandal violence and enmity and internecine warfare and rape and like there's nowhere on earth where that shit happened, bro. Like where there was a fucking utopia, like that shit never existed anywhere, man. Some people like, look, and then look, let me just say this shit.
No, go ahead.
If you're an African American, you are a descendant of Africans. Ain't no question about it.
Yeah.
So you can hate them niggas all you want to, but the reality is you're grafted from them niggas. You are a hybridized people, a hybridized population that are the descendants of Europeans mixed with Africans, bruh. It is what it is.
And everything good and bad that
we
we got from them, and they do the same shit.
You can hate it or love it, nigga. It is what it is. Oh, you can go to Africa, nigga. You're part of that. You have part of Africa in your vein. Every human does, but bruh, all this. Well, you know, I hate Africans. Fuck Africans, nigga. You're a descendant from Africans. Yeah. You fucking nitwit.
I think, yeah, that's. But they don't understand that, and a lot of Africans don't understand that.
Look. I can understand you being ADOS, but look, you are an American descendant of slavery. If you are a descendant of slavery, you are from fucking where? Ain't no theory.
Western Africa.
This is not a theory, bro.
I've talked to 50-plus-year-old African Americans who say that they're not descendants of slaves at all. So I asked them, so why are you talking about why are you saying the white man keeping you down, and then you're saying you're black, but then you're telling me that you don't have any ancestors from Africa or slavery. So where the fuck are you from?
Man, look, motherfuckers been watching too much Dane Galloway, man, or whatever this dude is, man. You guys, we're one. I'm not gonna say we're the only community because you got some crackpot white motherfuckers who subscribe to ancient alien theory and flat Earth theory, which I think is fucking absolutely. It's fucking ridiculous if you ask me.
Built the pyramids and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, you can believe what you want to believe, man, but we're one of the only communities who were a fucking Dane Galloway will have like 500,000 subscribers and shit, and motherfuckers are hinging on his every word, but they'll reject motherfuckers who been studying shit at the graduate level for years and shit. They'll reject that shit. Oh, I don't believe any of that. Double-blind peer-reviewed research and shit is all, to be thrown to the side in favor of some shit some nigga on YouTube said that got likes and subscribers and followers and shit.
Yeah.
That's the subscribers, likes, and members and super chats is a replacement for double-blind peer-reviewed research and people with accreditation.
Unfortunately,
take it easy on them, GG. It's bred into us.
And this ain't got shit to do with the Bible, bro. Like, this man, look, motherfuckers like, well, Africa is in the man, bro. Stop the bullshit, man. Go there, man. You can go look at the slave ports, man. You got motherfucking archival evidence of ship manifests.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, they all just fabricated that. Like, they all just made that up. Like, man, I'm done with this shit, bro. I can't do any more tonight, man. I'm done, bro. I don't romanticize Africa. I'm not romanticizing it at all. Bruh, you ain't got to tell me, I already said. But you are poor African. That's the problem. Motherfucker like, well, fuck Africa. Nigga, you are recently from there in terms of time.
Yeah.
Take it easy on them, GG. It's bred into us not to be communal people.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, come on, man. You're a hybridized population of people who your women were basically made into concubines and Massa nutted all up in them and gave birth to African Americans today, bro.
Yep.
You can say what you want to about it. We was here. We was with the Native Americans. Look, if you read Ivan Van Sertima that came before Columbus, man, he talked about Egyptians like 1,200, 1,500 years ago, maybe traveling over to this motherfucker. Not recently.
Why you think there's pyramids all over the world? Oops, did I say that out loud?
Right.
Bro, I'm done with it, man. I'm done with it, bro. Go listen to Dane Galloway, man. That nigga's a crackpot, if you ask me.
Well, it's a two-edged fight, man. Because we got to convince us as ADOS that we African, but sometimes we got to convince the Africans that we African too. I mean,
I'm done with. Hey, bro, I'm not saying
it's
that.
funny you said that about the slave force because I was in Dakar and I tried to go to Goree Island and they told me I had to pay the white man price. I couldn't pay the African price because I had a U.S. passport. I said, look at my skin. Do I look white? They say you don't have you can't pay the African price. I said, oh, okay.
You're American.
I can look.
Period.
Motherfuckers, look, you can look, bro.
Culturally.
Motherfuckers talking about cannibalism in Africa. I can tell you it was cannibalism of black people in America.
Yep.
They used to lynch you and eat your nuts, nigga.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peel your skin, put your hair in pillows.
You act like cannibalism wasn't taking place in America. This shit, man, bro. This shit is crazy to me, man. But I ain't gonna lie. I do believe that, the whole idea that like there were millions and millions like of Africans in the New World before white folks, came here, man. Come on, man. That's fantastic, bro. Maybe thousands, but based upon ancient, transport across the Atlantic through trade winds and shit like that, possible. I read Ivan Van Serter, they came before Columbus. But like this wholesale evidence, like, like this wholesale nations of Africans over here, man. Come on, man. Stop it, man. Cut it out, man.
No.
Cut it out, bro. Stop it, man. I'm not, bro, don't do that, man. Cut it out, man. But black people believe anything, man. Like, I mean, you can tell, like, I'm done with it, though, bro. I ain't got nothing else to say, man. I'm done, man. When I'm done, man. Pain that happened, man. That shit happened so long ago, bro. When the earth was all one, man, that shit was so long ago, bro. Come on, man.
You're talking about Pangea?
Yeah, man. So anyway, man, look, I'm done, man. I'm gone, man.
Nice.
All I want to do is to demonstrate that, stop trying to connect contemporary sexual politics like a la Gail Rubin, Firestone, Dworkin, Foucault. Don't try to juxtapose that shit and put it over Africa, pre-colonial Africa. No, stop it. Don't do that, bro. I'm not gonna let you get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, man, look. It is what it is, man. I done had a show, man. It's done. Please like, share, subscribe. Please, if you can, denote a little piece of change, to the Green Gorilla channel, man, so I can keep this thing going. But shout out to all the people, man, who've hit me up. He says Kalanja Kala African is what we say. It's not limited to geography, old customs, or norms. Shout out to him. I want to make sure I get the people who put a little piece of change in my hands. Jiggin said Gigi is surgical with that pump. Light him up, Doc. I'm going to keep lighting their ass up. I don't mind shooting shots. You know what I mean? I saw Mr. He hook me up. Shout out to him for the $99 holler. Appreciate that so much, sir. Shout out to Jiggin again. He said the Black Manosphere denotes as pro-black or at least black-centered by the name black. So I'm boggled by anti-pro-black sentiments in this space. Yeah, I get that. I understand that. I'm like, yeah, if you ain't pro-black, but anybody can be beholden to an ideology or a thought, and they're not reflective or critical of their own ideology they hold. I'm like, you got to be self-critical. You understand? Yeah. I'm always self-critical. You know what I mean? Leon O.A. says, I'm full Black America, and I have family that still holds the name Kimbo in the Zumbia. My grandmother tried to explain it, but we know where we're from. Like Chuck D said a long time ago, man, I know where I'm from. Not dumb diddy dumb from the place of the bass, the big beat drum. Like a lot of cats now, like I got Indian in my family. Okay, guy. You go ahead, man.
Yeah, I'm Native American.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I got good hair, my nigga. I look like Lloyd and shit, you know what I'm saying? With Young Money. Look
They
like
might as well
Lord.
do the DNA and go ahead and fess up to that 17%
Oh, that's just a
white
theory.
they got too.
That's some shit, man. White man just lying. Ain't no DNA.
Yeah, whatever.
White man lying.
And then they do it and they see that 20% Caucasian in them and they don't claim that. No, they'll claim that 1% Indian.
Yeah, that Indian boy, that's in there, boy. In there like booty hair. Anyway, man, y'all be good, man. I'll holler at y'all on the next one, man. I don't know if I'm gonna be on tomorrow or not. Yeah, I don't know if
Appreciate
I'm
the show, GG.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll holler at y'all, man, next one. Peace.